Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, if you're like most people tuning in, you probably feel bombarded daily. All these headlines about the latest, shiniest business opportunity.
Oh yeah, the newest AI thing, the next crypto craze, whatever platform is hot this week.
Exactly.
And well, that noise, that's exactly what we want to cut through today. Our whole mission here is based on something fundamental. Technology changes, platforms change all the time, but human nature, that stays pretty constant.
Right.
So if you're a learner, someone looking to build, real lasting financial success, maybe some long-term income, you got to stop chasing those fleeting trends. You need to focus on what we call evergreen opportunities.
So we're not talking about the quick cash grab that just, disappears in 6 months.
Definitely not.
We're here to really look at the foundational business structures, the ones that are almost by definition future-proof. We've gathered a bunch of sources outlining 15 core ideas that are really thriving in 2025.
And crucially, they're thriving not because of hype, it's because of necessity.
Necessity, okay.
The core principle is actually pretty simple. Evergreen businesses meet permanent human needs. Just think about the constants. Things that were needed 100 years ago, things that'll be needed 100 years from now.
Like what specifically?
Well, the need for health, obviously. The need for learning, for education, shelter, food, and, a general support for businesses themselves.
Okay.
When your business solves a problem rooted in one of those constants, you kind of insulate yourself from the ups and downs of the economy, from platform changes, all that volatility.
That's the blueprint then. Value, not hype. So we're going to unpack these 15 ideas, grouping them by those core demands you mentioned. And we'll look at how these sort of classic businesses have evolved for today's digital world.
Sounds good.
Let's start with maybe the most personal area, that foundation of individual well-being, stability.
Right. So section 1, we're looking at let's call them the 3 pillars of self-optimization: health, education, finance. These are things people invest in when they feel secure, sure. But interestingly,
they invest more when they feel insecure.
Often, yeah. They're seeking control over their personal lives when everything else feels uncertain.
Okay, so idea number 1, health and fitness coaching. The constant quest for wellness. This isn't exactly new, right? Why is it evergreen in 2025? What makes it stick around?
Because that drive for physical and mental optimization, it's internal. It's a fundamental human priority. But, the industry has moved way beyond just a generic plan from a gym coach.
So?
What makes it high value and evergreen now is extreme specialization.
Okay, let's unpack that specialization. According to the sources, what kind of coaches are really commanding the premium rates these days?
We're seeing a huge shift towards very specialized, high-touch services. So forget just weight loss. Think post-rehab conditioning coaches or performance nutritionists who only work with execs on energy optimization.
Wow, specific.
Or like wellness consultants focusing entirely on sleep hygiene, maybe stress reduction tailored specifically for remote workers. It gets very granular.
That makes total sense. You're selling a solution to a really specific acute problem, not just some vague goal like get healthier.
Exactly.
And how has the digital side changed the delivery?
Oh, it's made it incredibly efficient. Flexibility is absolutely key. Coaches are using telehealth platforms, sure, but not just for video calls. They're using them for complex data tracking.
Like wearables and stuff.
Yeah, integrating data from fitness trackers, personalized meal planning apps, using software for accountability with automated check-ins. It's quite sophisticated. And the sources point out this asynchronous coaching model.
Asynchronous, meaning not live.
Right. The client gets a plan, does the work, and the coach provides detailed feedback later. This allows for a much higher client volume, global reach even. It dramatically increases the scaling potential compared to just trading time for money in one-on-one sessions.
So you're selling accountability and expertise that an app just can't replicate.
Precisely. That human touch, but scaled efficiently.
Okay, let's move to the second pillar. Education and online courses. That hunger for knowledge. We've all seen the boom in online courses, but with so much content out there, why is this still considered an evergreen goldmine? Is the market saturated?
Well, it's because the nature of work itself demands constant upskilling.
Right.
Think about the economic shifts, especially with AI and automation.
Skills become obsolete faster.
Exactly. Entire skill sets can become outdated much quicker than before.
Yeah.
So people need continuous learning, not just for, self-improvement, but literally for career survival.
So the demand isn't just for content, it's for competence, career insurance almost.
That's a great way to put it, competence. And this is where, again, niche specialization is vital. Just like with health coaching. Sure, platforms like Udemy are accessible, but the real evergreen businesses, they're focusing on deep, practical skills that lead directly to a job or starting a business.
Gotcha.
Oh, think specialized courses in data visualization, advanced skills in niche industry software, even high-level soft skills like advanced remote team leadership, things with tangible outcomes.
And the nice thing the sources mention is the relatively low barrier to entry for the entrepreneur here.
Absolutely. You can start on platforms like Coursera or Skillshare, reach a huge audience right away. But for the higher margin businesses, the trend seems to be towards proprietary websites, using integrated learning management systems or LMS.
So you control everything.
You control the pricing, the community aspect, which is so important for keeping people engaged and actually learning, and the brand. Doesn't matter if you're teaching, say, Rust programming or something traditional like professional cooking skills online. You're meeting that permanent human need for self-improvement and staying relevant economically.
That need for economic relevance flows right into the third area, personal finance coaching. Especially now with economic volatility, inflation worries, interest rates, this feels incredibly valuable.
It's absolutely critical. Our sources really highlight that financial health anxiety is a huge modern stressor. When people feel that pressure, they don't just ignore money problems. They actually seek out expertise more desperately. They need help navigating the complexity, finding stability.
So it thrives in uncertainty.
Exactly. That's why personal finance coaching solves a long-term problem tied to stability and planning. It makes it remarkably resilient, regardless of what the market's doing day to day.
That's interesting. So when the market's good, people want help investing, maximizing gains.
Right.
And when it's shaky, they need help with debt, saving, just hunkering down. It sounds like it wins either way.
It really does. And let's look at the specifics. These coaches aren't just giving generic advice. They're teaching high-value skills most people lack, like deep dive budgeting using modern software, advanced strategies for restructuring debt, demystifying complex stuff like retirement planning or investing for a small business.
Things beyond a basic app.
Way beyond. And a key growth area is behavioral finance coaching, helping people understand and overcome their psychological biases around spending and saving. An app can track your spending, sure, but it can't really get at the why.
Right, that needs a human touch, understanding the psychology.
Exactly. That requires empathy, conversation, a tailored approach. You're selling customized stability, peace of mind. And for the coach, this often means predictable recurring revenue, maybe through quarterly check-ins or retainer models for ongoing financial oversight.
Classic evergreen model.
Built entirely on necessity and trust, not hype, not trends.
It's fascinating. All three of these, health, education, finance, they all tap into that core personal need for optimization, stability, control. Okay, let's pivot now. From supporting the individual to supporting the structure that employs them or serves them. The modern enterprise.
Right, section 2, we're moving into B2B services now. Basically, the digital backbone that almost any business needs to function in the 21st century. And the demand here isn't slowing down. If anything, it's accelerating as more traditional businesses finally shift online.
Okay, starting with number 4, digital marketing services. The need for visibility. I liked your earlier point. It's like the digital utility company. Every business just has to pay for it to survive.
It really is the cost of doing business now. If customers can't find you online, you might as well not exist to them. The tricky part, and this is where the opportunity lies, is that the platforms, the algorithms, they change constantly.
Making it harder for businesses to keep up themselves.
Exactly. Which paradoxically makes the expert service provider even more essential.
But couldn't you argue that with all the DIY tools, the AI helpers, isn't it getting easier for small businesses to handle their own marketing? Maybe eroding the need for agencies?
That's a fair question, but the sources suggest the opposite is happening, at least at the high-value end. Sure, basic social media posts can be automated to some extent, but strategy, that can't. As platforms get more complex, think about sophisticated updates to Google's search algorithm, or how ad targeting constantly evolves on Facebook or LinkedIn. The specialized knowledge needed to actually get a return on investment. It becomes too much for most in-house teams, especially smaller ones.
So the demand shifts from just general marketing help to real expert specialization.
Precisely. We're talking about agencies that only do local SEO for, say, plumbers and electricians, or paid ad teams that are experts specifically on high ROI platforms like Pinterest or maybe LinkedIn B2B ads, depending on the client.
Deep niches.
Deep niches, complex SEO audits, conversion rate optimization, CRO, managing highly segmented performance-based ad campaigns. You're selling predictability and expertise in what feels like a really chaotic digital landscape.
Okay, which leads us nicely to number 5, content creation and freelance writing, the fuel for that marketing engine. We always hear content is king, but with AI text generators getting so good, what keeps the human content creator evergreen?
This is a really crucial point. AI can generate text, lots of it, quickly. But what it struggles with is generating a unique, compelling, trust-building voice, or genuine authority.
The human element.
Right. The demand for good content survives platform changes because it taps into fundamental human needs. Communication, storytelling, getting reliable information from experts.
So the human touch becomes the premium feature, essentially.
Exactly. The high-value work seems to be shifting into 2 main areas now. One is strategic content planning, understanding the audience, the goals, the whole journey. The other is creating that highly authoritative branded voice.
Like what kind of content?
Think high-value executive white papers, deeply researched newsletters that actually build a loyal following, video scripts that need cultural nuance or emotional impact. And the sources confirm, truly original copy, stuff that's infused with the business owner's personality and expertise. That still commands premium rates, especially for high-stakes things like your main website messaging or investor pitches.
So AI is more of a tool for research, maybe editing?
An efficiency tool, yeah. Not a replacement for high-quality, strategic human thinking and creativity. At least not yet.
Okay, so you've got the content. It needs to look professional, right? Which brings us to number 6, graphic design and branding, the visual identity imperative.
Absolutely. Every serious business, doesn't matter the size, needs to look professional, credible, distinct. You just can't build trust in 2025 with, sloppy visuals or inconsistent branding.
And design now is way more than just a nice logo, I assume.
Oh, much more. Logo design is still foundational, timeless, yes.
Well,
but the modern evergreen designer, they're heavily focused on user experience, UX, and user interface, UI design, making sure a client's website isn't just pretty, but also intuitive, accessible, and actually converts visitors into customers.
makes sense.
And then there's consistency across all the digital touchpoints, social media templates, email signatures, presentation decks. It all needs to look and feel coherent. It conveys trustworthiness, scale. It's a creative business needed right at the start, but also crucial during rebrands or major product launches, making sure the visuals match the message.
All right, let's talk numbers. Literally. Idea number 7, accounting and bookkeeping. You called this one recession-proof. Why? Mostly regulations.
It's basically mandatory. Genuinely, every single business, small, large, nonprofit, whatever, has to handle its finances, track expenses, pay taxes, comply with the law. You simply can't operate legally or effectively without it.
So the core service bookkeeping, tax prep, is traditional. How does a modern entrepreneur build a high-growth, evergreen business around that?
By embracing virtualization and specialization. The model that's really thriving now is the virtual bookkeeping firm, or the virtual CFO service. They use cloud-based tools, QuickBooks Online, Xero, specialized expense tracking software to manage clients anywhere in the world. It's incredibly efficient.
And specialization gives them an edge.
A huge edge. Think about it. A bookkeeper who only works with e-commerce businesses. They understand inventory, platform fees, sales tax across states, or one who only does nonprofits. They know grant reporting inside and out.
They become indispensable.
Exactly. They become strategic partners, not just data entry people. They can charge significantly higher retainer fees than a generalist. The compliance aspect makes the revenue reliable, and that specialized insight makes it high value.
Okay, last one in this critical B2B section. Idea number 8, IT support and cybersecurity. The non-negotiable shield, especially now with so much remote work.
Yeah, as businesses put more of their core operations online, their vulnerability just skyrockets. Protecting data, ensuring systems stay up and running, it's not a luxury anymore, it's basic business insurance. The sources are really clear. Downtime and data breaches are existential threats now, especially for small and medium-sized businesses.
Do we have any sense of the cost? Just to illustrate the threat for listeners.
We do. The data consistently shows it's rising. For smaller firms, the average cost of a single breach in 2025 can easily hit tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes much more. often enough to actually bankrupt the company between the disruption, potential fines, loss of trust.
Wow. Okay.
Which is why the value proposition of what's called a managed service provider, an MSP, is so strong.
Tell us more about that MSP model. What do they do?
An MSP doesn't just wait for things to break and then fix them. They offer proactive management, constant monitoring, threat prevention, usually for a flat monthly retainer fee.
What are their key focus areas?
Critical things like secure remote access for employees, huge now, robust cloud infrastructure management, and crucially, ransomware prevention and disaster recovery planning. What happens if you get hit?
So they're selling peace of mind, system continuity, compliance support.
Exactly. And these services become even more essential as workforces become more complex and distributed. The absolute necessity of system security. That drives high-value, recurring, reliable demand, no question.
Okay, so we've covered the individual's needs, health, education, finance, and the enterprise's needs, marketing, content, design, numbers, IT. Let's pivot back now to the physical world. Tangible needs, shelter, consumption habits.
Right. This section gets into those really primal, consistent needs, where we live, what we use day to day, what we eat. These fuel high volume, perpetual demands, leading to some very resilient business models.
Starting with number 9, real estate services. The eternal demand for shelter. But the real estate market itself is famously cyclical, volatile even. How does a business in this space stay evergreen?
Well, it's fundamentally evergreen because people always need homes and businesses always need physical space.
Yeah.
Even if the sheer volume of buying and selling goes up and down with interest rates or the economy.
The underlying need is constant.
Exactly. And the need for managing transactions, keeping properties maintained, optimizing investments that never really disappears.
So the key to evergreen success here isn't just being a general real estate agent selling houses. It's specializing in areas with consistent activity, no matter if it's a buyer's or seller's market.
Precisely. Let's look beyond just traditional home sales. Property management, for instance. That's absolutely essential for investors holding rental properties. It provides steady income even when sales are slow.
Makes sense. What else?
The sources point to massive growth in specialized consulting, like helping owners of commercial properties convert underutilized office space into apartments or mixed-use developments.
Oh, that's interesting. Responding to the remote work shift.
Exactly. It addresses that permanent need for shelter while solving a very current structural problem in the commercial market. It's smart problem solving.
In a market that's hard to automate, too.
Very true. Another area is affordable housing consulting. Regardless of the economy, there's almost always government and private money flowing towards solving housing shortages. That creates steady work for consultants or specialized brokers who understand that niche. It's still a foundational, necessity-driven business at its core.
Okay, shifting from shelter to consumption. Idea number 10. E-commerce with niche products, specifically selling things people buy repeatedly for a stable customer base.
Yeah, the key here for a modern e-commerce entrepreneur is avoiding the trap of trying to be a general store online. Competing with Amazon or Walmart on everything, that's usually a losing battle. Evergreen success comes from going deep into a niche market, becoming the go-to authority.
But even in a niche like pet supplies or eco-friendly goods, doesn't Amazon's dominance make it incredibly tough for a small startup to break through?
It's definitely the major challenge. But the strategy for survival, and even thriving, is hyper-specialization and adding proprietary value, something Amazon can't easily replicate. So in pet supplies, you don't just sell generic dog food bags. Maybe you sell specialized, locally sourced, breed-specific raw diets, delivered on a subscription. Or in the eco-friendly space, maybe you focus on vertically integrated products, stuff you actually design and manufacture yourself. You control the quality, the supply chain, and you build a community around shared values. Big retail struggles with that kind of connection.
So you're not just selling a commodity product, you're selling a highly specific solution or maybe even a lifestyle identity that encourages repeat purchases.
Exactly right. The sources really emphasize the power of evergreen niches driven by necessity or deep values. Things like baby products, diapers, wipes, formula constant repurchasing, pet supplies, driven by that sense of responsibility, sustainable goods, driven by ethical commitment. If you build a loyal customer base around those consistent buying cycles, your revenue becomes much more stable.
Okay, next up, idea 11, cleaning and maintenance services. Upkeep of physical spaces seems simple, maybe low-tech, but always needed.
Universally necessary, totally non-sectional. Homes need cleaning, offices need cleaning, public spaces need cleaning and maintenance all the time. The barrier to entry for starting is relatively low, which is appealing, but again, specialization is really key to scaling it and making it truly evergreen, high value.
How do you specialize in something classic like cleaning to make it high value today?
By targeting higher margin contracts. So instead of just basic house cleaning, maybe you specialize in post-construction cleanup. That's complex, messy, needs special equipment and know-how. Or you focus on getting certified for eco-friendly cleaning and win large contracts with corporations that have sustainability targets.
Ah, the B2B angle again.
Often, yeah. Or specializing in specific facility types,
Right.
like medical offices with strict sanitation requirements.
And what about scaling this kind of business?
The potential is excellent. You can start small, maybe just yourself or a couple of people. But the model scales well locally, either by building and managing teams for larger commercial jobs, or even through franchising, if you develop a strong system and brand. And the most successful modern firms use tech effectively, apps for scheduling, quality checks, client communication, billing. That allows them to manage bigger teams and more contracts efficiently.
Okay, moving to the most fundamental need of all, idea 12, food delivery or meal prep. People always got to eat, but how we get our food is changing.
This business just thrives on convenience meeting absolute necessity. The meal prep model, especially, hits that modern pain point. People want to eat healthy, controlled meals, but they have absolutely zero time to cook.
Guilty as charged.
Right. So that ensures high repeat business, stable revenue.
What are the niches within food that make it truly evergreen beyond just general convenience? Because there are a lot of food delivery apps now.
Again, it's about highly targeted dietary needs. Think meal prep focused exclusively on, say, performance athletes with very precise macro requirements, or specialized delivery services for people on strict medical diets, maybe diabetic-friendly meals, or low-sodium meals for renal patients. That's a critical need.
Indispensable, not just an alternative.
Exactly. Also, catering services focusing on high-end corporate events, or those handling complex dietary needs like entirely gluten-free or certified kosher or vegan kitchens. These command premium pricing and attract loyal clients who can't just order from a standard restaurant or app. You're delivering specific health outcomes or meeting strict requirements. That boosts the value proposition way up.
And tech plays a role here too.
Big time. For personalized ordering, managing subscriptions, tracking dietary preferences and allergies accurately, that integration is what separates a modern specialized meal service from just a traditional caterer. You're selling precision nutrition, delivered conveniently, super stable in pretty much any economic climate.
Speaking of stable recurring revenue, idea 13 is subscription boxes. The model designed to turn one-time buyers into loyal, predictable income streams.
Yeah, it's a logistical masterpiece when it's done well. The real power here is the predictability it offers the business owner. Once you get that customer signed up, you have a pretty good idea of your revenue for the next few months, maybe even years, as long as you keep your churn rate, your cancellations low.
We've seen subscription boxes for literally everything, though. Some seem kind of faddish. How do you pick a niche that's genuinely evergreen?
You tie the product directly to a constant consumption habit or a recurring self-care need. The sources really recommend niches that tap into those foundational areas we keep talking about.
Like what?
Things like wellness and self-care products. People always run out of toiletries, skincare, vitamins, high-quality consumable snacks, or specialty coffees and teas. Or items for pets, food, treats, toys. These are things people use up and need to replenish regularly.
So the success isn't just the novelty of getting a box in the mail. It's the sourcing, the curation, the actual value inside.
That's absolutely where the high-margin, truly evergreen boxes shine. They often use unique, beautiful packaging. They source products that are hard to find easily in local stores. Crucially, they use customer data preferences, past purchases, to personalize the box contents.
Making it feel tailored.
Exactly. That personalization dramatically reduces cancellation rates. If the customer feels like the box is curated just for them and it saves them the time and hassle of shopping for things they need anyway, the value proposition holds strong month after month.
Okay, we've journeyed through personal needs, corporate needs, tangible physical needs. Let's wrap up our 15 ideas by looking at the really big picture forces shaping the global future.
Right. These last two ideas are tapping into major long-term global shifts, things with enormous inertia. These aren't just trends. They're fundamental changes in how the world is operating.
Number 14, sustainable and eco-friendly products and services. The sources are pretty emphatic that this move towards sustainability isn't a fad, it's an unstoppable long-term demand shift.
It really seems to be. It's being pushed by two powerful forces simultaneously. One is huge consumer demand, especially from younger generations who really prioritize environmental impact in their purchasing decisions.
And the other?
Increasing pressure from corporate and governmental mandates, regulations around emissions, waste, sustainable sourcing. They're getting stricter globally, so businesses catering to this aren't just riding a wave of consumer interest, they're meeting concrete requirements. It's becoming embedded.
Within this massive shift, what are the most resilient evergreen business models? It's a huge space.
The sources suggest focusing on necessity and infrastructure. So maybe looking beyond just selling reusable water bottles, although that's a part of it. Think higher value lead-to-D services.
For example?
Green packaging solutions. Lots of companies have to reduce their packaging waste or use sustainable materials now because of their own corporate goals or regulations. Providing those solutions is a huge B2B need. Or specializing in the installation and ongoing maintenance of renewable energy systems like solar panels. The maintenance creates a long-term service relationship after the initial sale.
I see. So you're not just selling a single green product, you're providing the essential infrastructure or the supply chain compliance that other bigger companies desperately need to meet their own targets.
Correct. Another really interesting high-growth area mentioned is circular economy consulting, helping businesses redesign their products and processes to eliminate waste from the very beginning. That solves a long-term problem of resource scarcity and tightening environmental laws. It offers very long-term demand because this kind of stewardship is becoming central to policy and corporate responsibility everywhere.
Okay, finally, rounding out our 15 ideas, language learning and translation services. This one's all about facilitating and profiting from ongoing globalization.
Yeah, as the world continues to get flatter, as technology connects more companies, cultures, individuals across borders, the need for clear communication bridges just keeps growing. It's constant. This business area really has no expiration date.
But what about AI? Tools like Google Translate, other AI translation platforms, they're getting incredibly good. Is the human element still truly necessary, especially in translation?
It absolutely is. For anything high stakes, AI is fantastic for getting the gist, for basic high-volume translation, quick emails, understanding a foreign website, but it fundamentally lacks cultural nuance, idiomatic understanding, the context needed for really important stuff.
Like legal documents.
Medical info. Exactly. The sources are clear. The demand for certified expert human translators for things like legal contracts, complex technical manuals, sensitive diplomatic communications, even high-quality marketing localization, that remains incredibly strong. And it commands high rates because the cost of error is huge.
Okay, and on the language learning side?
The need to learn languages for career advancement is really spiking, especially in globally connected industries or high-growth international markets. So, specialized instruction may be business Mandarin or Spanish tailored for the U.S. healthcare market that taps directly back into that fundamental education need we talked about earlier.
So the key is quality instruction.
High-quality, culturally sensitive instruction. Using technology for practice and trolls, sure, but keeping human expertise for fluency, nuance, conversation, and cultural context. Essentially, you're selling indispensable infrastructure for a globalized economy.
Wow. That is a comprehensive and incredibly well-structured list of 15 ideas. What really stands out, listening to all of them, is how deliberately every single one seems to avoid relying on fleeting trends. It's all about fundamental value. Hashtag, tag, outro.
That really is the core insight, isn't it? If you synthesize the main takeaway from all 15, they are all fundamentally rooted in fulfilling those permanent human needs we identified at the start. Health, education, shelter, food, and the essential support services needed to keep everything running. These are businesses built on certainty, on consistency.
So for you listening, the learner, whether you're just thinking about starting your first venture, or maybe you're looking to pivot an existing business towards more stability, the message seems pretty unambiguous. Real long-term success comes from choosing a business that solves an inescapable long-term human problem.
That's the final principle, really. Evergreen businesses don't depend on manufactured hype. They don't live or die by platform algorithms. They rely entirely on providing genuine essential value. Hype fades fast. Necessity endures.
It's a crucial shift in perspective, I think. Instead of constantly asking, what's the hot new trend I can jump on, or what's easy to sell right now?
Yeah.
The better question is, what fundamental, essential problem can I solve for people that will still be relevant a decade from now?
Which brings us perfectly to our final provocative thought. Something for you to chew on after this deep dive. If meeting those permanent human needs is the absolute key to stability, How can you innovate aggressively on the delivery of some of those basic, traditional evergreen services?
Like cleaning, bookkeeping, meal prep.
Exactly. How can you use modern digital tools, maybe specialized AI for optimization, maybe proprietary software for scheduling and logistics, maybe advanced data analytics for personalization? How can you take a constant, essential need and deliver it in a revolutionary, hyper-efficient, maybe even delightful new way?
Adding even greater value and predictability to those established sectors.
Precisely. That convergence, timeless necessity meeting modern efficiency and innovation, that's likely where the truly explosive evergreen growth opportunities lie moving forward.
That is a fantastic challenge to leave us with. Thank you so much for diving deep into these business ideas that are built to last.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.